Over 3 years of development later, the polished final product is coming out for Lawbreakers. And Boss Keith invited myself as well as many other YouTubers, live streamers down to LA to play, capture, and compete on now this final product you're seeing gameplay of. And they also sponsored me to make a video about it. My biggest question about it and any other game that I first play is what is unique about it. So I'm taking the opportunity with this video to put together a top list of what are the key differences and what you can expect with this game. To start though, let's talk high level. This is a 5 versus 5, very competitive style game that is quite fast-paced. This footage in the game we were playing was actually the full release. I had played the beta and even early alpha years back from PAX Prime when they first announced it, but with the full version here, this feels like a AAA high-quality game. I was playing on PC, the graphics were phenomenal, the FPS was incredible, and the hit reg, character movements, all were very crisp and tight. Note that we were playing in a very controlled setting. We were playing custom games on really nice PCs, all very close to each other, so there's not going to be a lot of latency there. But even when I was playing this on the beta, which this game is identical to in the full version, obviously, though, having everything unlocked, including a brand new class, the Harrier, which you see me start using here, it still played extremely well and to me still felt highly polished. This game uses class-based characters. There's 9 different ones that'll be there at launch, filling roles that you'll feel familiar with in terms of having your tanks, supports, and high-damaging characters, but there's quite an interesting spectrum between them, and this is where we start seeing some of the differences in this game. The most dramatic one starting off the list is gravity, or the lack thereof. Depending on which map you're on, there's different zones around the map that have 0 gravity, meaning that if you shoot in one direction, you're going to get pushed back because of physics in the other direction. With that in mind, the developers made the game so you can even blind fire over your shoulder to speed you across the map, and those heavy characters that generally move very slowly can now travel quite quickly, meaning that depending on which map you're playing on, there's probably going to be some ideal composition that will be different from other maps. The second big difference that I found was the game modes, and in particular, the way that they were developed to have so many buzzer-beater type moments. There was 2 modes in particular where I felt this. Blitzball, which you see me playing gameplay of here, you had to pick a ball up in the middle, score it in the enemy team's goal, first to 8 points wins. Well, with how fast the characters can move, it might be only a few seconds after you pick the ball up to just running in, or trying to stop somebody who's moving that quickly became extremely challenging. As fast-paced as the movement was, though, and in any of the games for that matter, there's no passing or shooting. It's all just based on killing that player who's holding the ball. And what slowed the mode down a lot, especially in the gravity zones, was that there's actual shields around the objectives. You can't just run over it, automatically pick it up, and get out of there. You have to spend a couple of seconds, I think it's about 3 to 5, standing on the objective, which will make the shield go down, and then will allow you to pick it up. It slowed the gameplay down a lot to the point where I got some incredible doubles, triple kills on the players who were all waiting to try to pick the objective up, and gave the extremely heart-racing moments when you're standing on objective. When it's 7-7 tie game, all you need to do is move it a couple of inches, and you got to get the shield down first. I got a similar rush from another mode called Overcharge, where there's again one objective, you got to bring it back to your base, charge it up, and have it explode. But this one objective, it could be charged at either of the 2 bases. The only thing that mattered is which base it ended up exploding at. And I had an opportunity to steal it. The enemy team had it fully charged. They were waiting on the final few seconds for the thing to explode, but I was contesting it stealthily, hiding on the objective. None of them, for some reason, spotted me. I got it, split across the map, planted it, and we got it at our base. We ended up losing the game, but regardless, that was in the middle of the game, and I was able to feel that intensity and close action. I was really very impressed with how the game's set up. Now, it can be very frustrating when it happens to you, or if you're trying to pick the ball up and you're waiting for the shield to go down. So I don't know if everybody's going to like this mechanic, as it can be frustrating, but because they did develop it this way, it makes those moments so much more rewarding when you can pull them off. And because I could move so quickly, I didn't feel like I was being held back by the game as much as I was just being killed by the person who did successfully manage to stop me. And finally, my third point, which has by far the most in it as well, is the map's and the characters. More so for the uniqueness, I give this to the maps. Going back to the points we've already talked about, in particular the game modes, but this game is designed to be evenly placed on both sides. That generally means uniform maps on both sides, as in they're symmetrical in terms of where health packs are, where healing stations are. And they're two-sided rather than always having an attacking and defending team. The most comparable game to this, I feel, as well as what I've seen from many other people just in comments, are comparing this game to Overwatch, which has a similar class-based system and even similarities between the characters amongst many other games in this genre. Where Lawbreakers felt different, though, was in the mobility of the characters, the abilities that they have to give them the mobility in terms of how they're dealing with gravity. How effective are their weapons at blind firing behind you to push you through the zone? As well as even handling things like kicks, with lighter characters just going absolutely flying when you kick them. I found it very easy to learn all the maps. It's always the same spawn location, and the health stations were in the same place. But the characters, while you could learn them in a good 10 minutes or so and all the different abilities that they have, from what I can tell, there is a clear skill gap in terms of whoever is going to be the most accurate and can chain the abilities together will be the superior player. It did not seem to come down to much luck. Along those lines, it works very well for competitive play, which it feels like this is textbook made for. We had a competition at the event where whoever got MVP of a match got a ticket to enter into the final competition. This game was my best one where I got MVP, which is why I wanted to show this beautiful gameplay to you. And you could see how hard everybody was pushing, which made for some really fun games. Although the majority of my games were losses because the other team was working together way better than we were, and it wasn't until this team changed that I got anything done. Big thanks again to Boss Key for sponsoring this video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about it. That's for this one, though. This is SwagMountain 64, over and out.